There has never been a better time than right now to take a simplified approach to healthy eating. Instead of following a restrictive diet that has an end date on the calendar, we can bring balance back to our meals along with mindful eating practices, and together they can help us to nourish our body for optimal health and allow us to truly enjoy our food again. Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Dr. Marissa Buscemi. I am a pharmacist and integrative nutrition health coach, and I educate on everyday wellness with good food and natural living. The information that I am sharing in this video is general nutrition advice, and it is not meant for anyone who eats a prescribed diet in order to manage a medical condition. One of the best gifts that you can give to yourself and to your family is to bring back and maintain balance in your meals, because it is going to help you nourish your body with nutrients that it needs in order to function optimally, and it is going to help you find and experience joy in food and eating for years to come. The goal of eating a balanced diet is to feel good. Eating a balanced diet that is filled with lots of real foods can help you have clear thinking, healthy digestion, healthy hair, skin, and nails, good sleep, immune health, energy, and confidence. Also, proper growth and development for your kids. So let's talk about what a balanced diet is and how you get it. The two main nutrient groups are macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients include carbs, fat, and protein, and micronutrients include your fat and water-soluble vitamins, as well as minerals. The diet industry likes to single out the macronutrients, and they will either tell you to eat more or less of them, but this isn't sustainable and it isn't healthy for the body long term. You can develop vitamin and mineral deficiencies, health conditions, hormone imbalances, and you may even develop an eating disorder. The reason that this can happen is because we need all of the macronutrients. Our body was designed to require all of the macronutrients. It breaks them down to get energy in the form of ATP, which is made from the metabolism of carbs, fat, and protein, which we then use to carry out thousands of biological reactions every single day. And we also use them for specific tasks all throughout the body. And you'll find that in a lot of real foods, meaning foods that are not ultra processed and that exist as nature intended them to be, that the macronutrients can coexist, meaning that a food can contain carbs, fat, and protein, or fat and protein, or carbs and protein. And thus, when you prioritize eating real foods, eating a balanced diet is simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it, stress about it, overthink it, count it. You can just eat it. And then when you pair that with mindful eating practices, you allow your body to run the show, and it will tell you when you're hungry, when you're full, what foods you need to stay away from, like when you have an allergy or a food sensitivity, as well as what to eat more of. So let's take a dive into some of the different ways that our body utilizes nutrients. First up is carbohydrates. They are the body's preferred energy source, especially for your brain. Each gram of carbohydrate supplies 4 kilocalories. So when you eat a carb, your digestive system will chemically and physically break it down into its simplest structure, which is known as a monosaccharide, which is one sugar molecule. This includes glucose, galactose, and fructose. They can then get absorbed from the digestive tract into the body. Any cell that needs energy can pull the monosaccharide out of the blood and into the cell by way of a transport protein, and then can use it to produce energy, ATP, and this fuels various functions. When the body has enough energy to support its functions, excess glucose is stored as glycogen. Now, the majority of this can be found within the muscle and in the liver. This comes in handy during high-intensity exercise and to help maintain blood glucose levels within a narrow range between meal times. Now, it is possible to deplete your glycogen stores, such as in the case of exercising for longer than a few hours, prolonged fasting, and severe carb restriction. And when this happens, the body will undergo a process called gluconeogenesis, which is where glucose is made from amino acids that are obtained from the destruction of proteins, primarily from your muscles. This is an issue, especially for anyone who is trying to lose weight, because a muscle breakdown in the long term can lower your metabolism, which means that you'll be burning fewer calories at rest. Raising your metabolism isn't all that easy, and it does take time. So when you do go back to eating carbs, you can actually end up gaining more weight than you originally had when you first started restricting carbohydrates, which is what happens to a lot of people who stop adhering to a restrictive low-carb diet that they've been on for a while. They can end up gaining more weight than what they originally started with. Additionally, when your body is using proteins to synthesize glucose, it isn't focused on using amino acids to perform their normal functions, which includes making new cells, repairing tissue damage, supporting the immune system, along with many other functions, which we'll talk about in just a second. Another function of carbs is what's called a fat-sparing effect, which means that your body is not using lipids, which are fats, as an energy source. Essentially, what happens is when levels of glucose in the blood increase, your body secretes insulin, which tells cells to take glucose that's in the blood and to bring it into the cell. Having adequate glucose levels in the blood prevents the development of ketosis. Ketosis is a metabolic condition that results from an elevation of ketone bodies in the blood. Ketone bodies are an alternative energy source that cells can use when there is not enough glucose. They are acidic, and high levels of ketones in the blood can cause the blood to become too acidic, which is a condition known as ketoacidosis, and cause damage to body tissues. The minimum amount of carbohydrate in the diet required to inhibit ketosis in adults is 50 grams per day. Now, a lot of people are intentionally putting their body into ketosis because they are following the restrictive keto diet, where they are restricting their daily carbohydrate intake to 50 grams per day or even less. For reference, this is roughly equivalent to 2 slices of whole wheat bread, 2 bananas, a cup of brown rice, or 3 medium apples. This diet is not sustainable long term, and if you're not careful with it, then you can see muscle breakdown, as I already previously explained, and you can also develop nutrient deficiencies like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, vitamin C, and fiber, since these nutrients are found in carbohydrate foods. Another function of carbohydrates is for healthy digestion and regular bowel movements. Carbohydrates supply our gut microbiota, which are the beneficial microbes that live within our gut, with a food source which is known as prebiotic fiber. One of the best things that you can do for your health is to support a healthy gut microbiota. Your overall health is very much connected to the health of your gut microbiota. These bacteria play big roles in our digestion, our gut lining, our skin and immune system, the creation of certain vitamins, and our mental health. So regularly consuming fermented foods that contain active live cultures along with resistant starches is very important. Resistant starches are classified as carbohydrates, but the body lacks the ability to break them down into their simplest form, which means that we can't absorb them. So instead, they remain within the lumen of the small intestine and continue to move along the digestive tract. The bacteria, on the other hand, can digest them, and they will use them as a food source. Additionally, since fiber remains in the digestive tract, it helps to keep things moving, and it allows us to have regular bowel movements and prevent constipation. Carbohydrates are also beneficial for your cardiovascular health because fiber binds to bile acids within the small intestine and prevents them from being reabsorbed, which makes the liver utilize cholesterol that would otherwise be in the blood in order to make more bile acids, which are essential for digestion and absorption of fat. And fiber also helps to support healthy blood sugar levels because it delays the absorption of carbs in the digestive tract, which helps with fasting blood sugar, postprandial blood sugar, which is your blood sugar 2 hours after you finish eating, as well as your A1C, which is a blood marker of your blood glucose over the past 3 months. So in summary, carbs function to produce energy, store energy, spare the breakdown of proteins, prevent ketosis, and support a healthy gut microbiota, healthy bowel movements, healthy cholesterol levels, and blood sugar balance within the body. Real food sources of carbohydrates include fruits, vegetables, sweet potatoes, quinoa, oats, brown rice, lentils, beans, peas, dairy, and bread. Next up is fat. Fat helps us to store energy. Excess energy from the food we eat is incorporated into fatty tissue, which is called adipose tissue. As we previously discussed, glucose is stored in the body as glycogen, which provides us with a ready source of energy. However, the body can't store much of it for long. Whereas with fat can serve as a larger and more long-term energy reserve. It can help see people through times of low food supply and through sickness when you might not be eating very much. It also contains more than double the amount of energy as a gram of carbohydrate. 1 gram of fat contains 9 kilocalories, whereas 1 gram of carb contains 4 kilocalories. We utilize fat as an energy source to help meet our basic energy needs when we are at rest and to fuel our muscles for movement throughout the day and during low intensity exercises. Fat also functions to insulate and protect the body. If it is stored within the abdominal cavity, it is called visceral fat, which protects vital organs like the heart, kidneys, and liver. And when it is stored underneath the skin, it is called subcutaneous fat, which insulates the body and provides padding for our hands and our butt, which frequently come in contact with hard surfaces like typing on a desk and sitting on the floor or in a chair. Another hugely important function of fats is in signaling various functions and in the production and regulation of hormones. Fat tissue secretes the hormone leptin, which helps to regulate appetite, essentially telling your brain that you're full and to stop eating. Women who lack adequate amounts of fat may stop menstruating and be unable to conceive until they start storing more energy as fat. Fat also plays important roles in regulating cholesterol, blood clotting, controlling inflammation in the joints, tissues, and bloodstream, as well as sustaining nerve impulse transmission, nerve cell insulation, memory storage, and tissue structure. Because our cell membranes are made of fat, they are called a phospholipid bilayer. Fat also allows for us to absorb the fat-soluble vitamins, which are A, D, E, and K, and an increased absorption of phytochemicals, for example, lycopene found in tomatoes and beta-carotene found in carrots. Some of the foods that are good dietary sources of these nutrients also contain fat, like nuts are good sources of vitamin E, and fatty fish and eggs are good sources of vitamin A and D. Fats are also important to satisfy appetite, which is the desire to eat because they add flavor to foods, and to satisfy hunger, which is the need to eat. They are slower to be digested and absorbed, and thus help keep you feeling full for longer periods of time. If you are following a low-fat diet, you may be feeling always hungry. Fat also helps to prevent big spikes in blood sugar after eating. Interestingly, most lipid molecules can be made in the body from other molecules, but there are two that are considered essential and must be included in your diet, and those are linoleic acid and alpha-linoleic acid, which are commonly known as omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. So in summary, fat serves as an energy source, energy storage, insulation and protection of organs, in signaling and production and regulation of hormones, to absorb fat-soluble vitamins and phytochemicals, to satisfy appetite and hunger, and to support healthy blood glucose levels. Real food sources of fat includes avocados, chia seeds, flax seeds, eggs, beef, chicken, pork, nuts and seeds, olive oil, dark chocolate, salmon, full-fat dairy, coconut, sardines, and freshly milled flour. And the last macronutrient is protein. Proteins can provide energy for the body, and 1 gram of protein contains 4 kilocalories, but the body prioritizes carbs and fats for that. If the body needs to utilize proteins for energy, then it pulls it from the blood and body tissues like muscle, which is not ideal. Instead, the body prioritizes proteins for other special tasks. Proteins build muscle, and they provide the structure of virtually all body tissues. They also play major roles to perform specific tasks like transportation of molecules in and out of cells, as antibodies for our immune system, as enzymes to speed up chemical reactions in the body, for cellular communication, like in the case of the hormones insulin, glucagon, melatonin, and thyroid hormone, in wound healing, tissue regeneration, nerve function, and also to make neurotransmitters like epinephrine and serotonin. We also have proteins that circulate within our blood, like albumin, which help with fluid balance. When protein intake is deficient, it can cause edema, which is swelling. And protein helps to maintain the proper balance of electrolytes like sodium and potassium inside and outside of our cells. Another key function of protein is maintaining proper blood pH balance, which is how acidic or basic our blood is. It is important to note that our body cannot store excess protein. Excess protein intake results in nitrogen excretion, and the remaining components are used for energy or converted to fat for later use. So I see a lot of times that people like to follow a high protein diet, but your body can still convert it to fat if there is too much around. In summary, protein can be used for energy needs, but its presence is prioritized for other important tasks throughout the body. Real food sources of protein includes eggs, meat, fish, tofu, dairy, beans, nuts, seeds, edamame, quinoa, brown rice, lentils, dairy, and freshly milled flour. So each of the macronutrients provide necessary functions in the body, and by consuming a diet that is balanced, meaning that you are consuming real food sources of each of them, you are providing your body with the necessary components that it needs in order to perform all of its functions and provide you with optimal health, growth, and development. You will find vitamins and minerals in them, which are essential for many bodily functions, and just as important, you are able to enjoy your food, enjoy eating, and feel satisfied. It's not something that you need to stress over. Now, not all food sources of carbs, fat, and protein are equal in health quality. Processing and environment play a big role. For example, a conventional egg versus a pasture-raised egg, or conventional beef versus grass-fed beef, raw nuts and seeds versus nuts and seeds that are roasted in highly processed pro-inflammatory vegetable seed oils that may also contain salt, high fructose corn syrup, and preservatives. A lot of people who advocate for eating a balanced diet like to say all foods in moderation, including highly processed ones. And I do support this just because in our world right now, it is really hard to eat a perfectly clean diet with the best of everything all of the time. And you shouldn't feel bad at yourself or feel shame if you eat something that is considered by some as unhealthy or bad. However, I do think sometimes people can take that as a pass to regularly eat a bunch of highly processed food and go out to eat a lot and think that it's okay. And it is okay. You can certainly do whatever you'd like. You can eat whatever you'd like. It doesn't make up your identity or determine your worth. But in my personal and professional experience, what I see is that sooner or later, your body is going to let you know in one way or another that something is off. You may develop a nutrient deficiency, an upset stomach, headaches, bloating, reflux, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, along with other metabolic conditions. So there is a fine line, and you need to figure out where that is going to be for you. Personally, I try to make the majority of my meals at home. I make a lot of foods from scratch. Any processed food that I buy, I do try to find a clean ingredient list, or at least one that is healthier from its alternatives. And if I have an opportunity to go out with friends and family, then I go, I eat, I enjoy the experience, and I don't worry too much about any of it. And then when I'm done with that, I just go back to how I normally eat. I do look forward to getting back to how I normally eat just because that's when I do feel my best. My body is fairly sensitive, and so I can definitely tell when something contains ingredients that I don't normally consume. But I never count calories or macros. I never weigh myself. I'm not trying to be a certain size, and my focus is really on eating for nutrients and for enjoyment. All right, you guys, so that was a lot of information, but I really just skimmed the surface on these topics here. So if there's anything that you would like for me to discuss in more detail, then let me know in the comment section and I can make another video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I share 2 videos a week plus lots of shorts, and I would love to have you join my Wellness Warrior community here on YouTube. If you would like to see easy to make healthy recipes for a balanced way of eating, then definitely check out my recipe playlist right here. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Stay well, my friends. Bye.